What's good, y'all? Welcome to Sidebar Fridays presented by Urban Intellects. This is going to be a bi-weekly show where we cover culture, politics, music, and beyond. So let's go ahead and hop into it, right? One of the biggest things that, you know, caught me by surprise, not really caught me by surprise, but one of the biggest trending topics, especially for us, in our community, right, is on some of these executive orders by President Trump, which are really crazy, right? Like, this is extremely, like, radical, right? Let's go down the list, y'all. So, we have the first one I want to talk about is ending racial and wasteful government DEI programs and preferencing. So basically, this gets rid of any preferencing for diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives on a federal level. And so, look, like they even call it wasteful government programs, right? Wasteful government DEI programs, right? This was created to ensure that black folks wasn't being discriminated against, right? Black folks and women, right? And now they're basically saying that it's wasteful, and not only is it wasteful, but folks are even claiming that it's racist, right? Which is crazy, right? But basically, this eliminates diversity initiatives in federal hiring and contracting, reducing efforts to address systemic inequalities. So yeah, it's crazy, right? Just know, like, DEI is popular because of us, and we popularized it because this is something that we could benefit from, right? This is something that we could benefit from the 100 plus years, right? 150, 200, 300, 400 years of employment discrimination that we faced in the country, right? So these type of programs were created to remedy the lasting effects of those of racism, right? Of those racial hiring practices, specifically when it came down to government contracts for different entrepreneurs. So now, so now basically black entrepreneurs may have harder times getting those contracts, right? Women entrepreneurs may have harder times getting those contracts, and also other ethnicities, right? This was created, they try to make this seem like it's about merit, but it's not really about merit because black folk always have to be twice as good to get half as much. This is about visibility, right? DEI was about visibility, right? Because the thing is that there are tons of black people who are qualified, overly qualified, right? Have merit, all of those things, right? That they claim that they want to champion. The problem was that because you were black, you were being discriminated against, right? Like, literally, if you came from a certain zip code, right? There are even studies done to where if a applicant had a black sounding name with the same exact resume, they would not get chosen for the job, right? The white person with the white name would get chosen over the black person. This is a study that was done back in the day, right? I read this study when I was in high school, right? I can't remember it off the top of my head, but that's just one of the reasons why this was the case, right? And, like, I don't really know too many black people who have ever gotten a job because they were black, right? Especially like a good job, right? Never, right? Like, ever. Like, the only time you got a job because you're black is not because they was trying to look out for you. It's because they needed a black face in a certain area to either help their cause, right? Help attract customers to them, or help them look like a diverse company, right? So personally, I don't know them. Maybe y'all know some of them, but I don't. I ain't never came across it. This is just negative, and not just negative, but it's a blatant attack, right? It's just a blatant attack because it also touches on a couple of civil rights laws, right? All right, so next we have the ending illegal discrimination and restoring merit-based opportunity, right? Again, black people have always had merit, right? Again, we've had it, this is literally a saying, right? I know y'all grandmas, I know y'all pops have told y'all that you literally have to be twice as good to get half as much, right? There are a lot of black folk who have had to be twice as good their entire life. Like, I don't want to hear that merit shit. Like that's a talking point, right? That is a talking point, right? But essentially, that executive order is negative. In my personal opinion, it removes race-conscious measures, potentially rolling back gains from affirmative action in employment and education, right? Because it's like, why was that affirmative action in those spaces needed in the first place? It's because there were 100+ years of just black folks being free where they were completely discriminated against, right? Literally completely discriminated against into getting jobs, opportunities to go to college, all these things. Like, right, we had a whole movement on this, right? And now they're trying to say that the executive order for equal employment opportunity that Martin Luther King inspired, by the way, and mind you, old boy was inaugurated on MLK Day. It's crazy that this is something that Martin Luther King inspired, right? And they're calling something that Martin Luther King fought for, and that he inspired. They're calling that racist, right? They're calling that discrimination, right? When it was originally written to counteract discrimination. It was literally written to remedy discrimination, right? So basically what this executive order does is that it eliminates race-conscious policies, potentially undoing, and not potentially, but it actually is undoing progress made in promoting equal opportunities for historically disadvantaged groups, aka Black Americans, in employment and education, and also women, right? And so, like, these things always, right, these talking points and these things that these folks do, it baffles me because it's like, these things were created for a reason, right? That America was discriminating against Black Americans at all costs, right? Literally at all costs. I don't understand the merit thing, because in order for a Black person to even get to these positions to even apply, you have to have like a level of merit, right? Black people have always had merit when it came down to getting to these levels, right? The problem is that, again, like I just mentioned earlier, right? There are studies done that clearly show that there's racism in the hiring process. That is why DEI was created in the first place. Like, nobody just woke up one day and like, oh yeah, everything is equal, so hey, we're gonna just create DEI. No, it's that there was study after research, after more research and different studies, right? And folks studying research that showed that there was racism in the hiring, firing, and employment process, right? And so this is why DEI was even created in the first place, right? But now they're trying to say that, oh yeah, all that past discrimination that we did don't matter. It's the simple fact that y'all want us to give y'all visibility, right? Because literally all DEI is visibility, right? Like, it's like, okay, we understand that y'all exist, but let's make sure that we looking at all the groups, and making sure that even our hiring process, everything is fair, right? Like, folks got this other, they have this other thing that they talk about where they say like, oh yeah, DEI lowers the standards so it can let everybody in. No, the thing is that once they go back and re-examine the process, they understand that there are certain things that never needed to be there and that end up being unnecessary barriers, right? Like, bro, firefighters don't need to take math tests, right? I mean, maybe they do. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But again, the thing is that, like, bro, if you in a house, your house is burning, right? Do you want the person who can pass all of these irrelevant tests, or do you want the person that can rip the door off, pick up the plywood, dry whatever part of the house that fell on your leg, and carry your bitch ass out the house, right? Is that the person that you want, or you want the person who can pass all of these dumbass tests that don't need to be had, right? For the position. Those are the things that were being removed, right? Now, just to play God's advocate, right? As like folks like 19 Keys would say, just to play God's advocate, you might remove something on accident. Like, okay, yeah, maybe they actually do need that. And ain't nothing wrong with admitting that. But for the most part, there are a lot of unnecessary hoops that folks be having to jump through in order to get into these positions. But, but I digress, right? It didn't really matter how much merit a black person had. It's some fact that they just didn't want a black person in that position. It wasn't the fact that, oh, yeah, they weren't qualified, whatever. The only thing that disqualified them was the fact that they was black. Right. And this is why these things were created in the first place. Like, I really don't get how, like, folks have forgotten, like, a huge part of history on why these things were created, But hey, whatever. It's crazy that they are sitting here repealing civil rights era executive orders, and Brody was inaugurated on Martin Luther King's day, right? Crazy work, insane work. Also, I do want to say that folks are still protected by the 5th and 14th Amendment from discrimination at work. This is mainly for federal contracts, right? But yeah, man, black folk, we've always had to be twice as good to get half as much. That's literally been the motto, right? And honestly, if I'm gonna keep it a buck with us, right? With us, that's what we need to go back to. But we need to have the mindset now, because we live in a new era still. I mean, they trying to take us back, but we still in a new era of working twice as hard and getting twice as much. That's the new motto, folks. Like, we need to double it up, straight up. We need to be working twice as hard. We need to be twice as smart. That just need to be the motto, because that got us far, right? And we just got to keep it up. We got to keep it up. We got to increase the numbers. That's just what it is right now, right? Because, again, black folk always the last to get hired, first to get fired. Come on, like, we got these sayings in our communities and in our hoods and stuff. Like, y'all know what it is, man. To be honest, like, and I'm gonna move on to the next one after this, but the civil rights movement is a movement that all ethnicities should bow to, right? Should bow to. Why should they bow to it? Because it created all the opportunities that they have now, right? And not only that, for all of the different groups. And it has benefited all these different groups more than it has benefited black Americans, right? On top of that, the civil rights movement has been one of the catalysts that allowed Silicon Valley to prosper, and all these different areas of the United States government, all this innovation, right, that's coming from these foreigners and these immigrants who have, literally a dollar and a dream. They come out here, they create companies, they work with different people, and then they create big businesses, right? Literally, like, the top corporations in the world is ran by immigrants. Right. You guys will not have those. You guys will not have those opportunities if it was not for Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement, and for black people literally getting beat and hosed down with water hose and dogs biting them and getting lynched and fucking getting ate, and slavery and all of that stuff afforded all these groups of people these opportunities. Right. But then y'all let old boy get in the office and literally disrespect that movement, disrespect our people, disrespect the dude who literally was the catalyst for the movement, right? Whole time, it did y'all more good than us, because at that time, 1965, we still haven't went through, the whole crack epidemic, right? And COINTELPRO and all of those different things, right? So, like, come on, like, y'all didn't go through that, right? Y'all leaders didn't get stripped from y'all, right? Like, come on. Like, y'all, man, everybody need to bow to that movement. Everybody need to bow to our people, literally. Because, like, bro, like, we fought for this. We fought for y'all to be able to have these opportunities. And just by luck of the draw, it has inspired folks to come here and build great things. Come on, man. Anyways, next, I'm gonna try to wrap this up pretty quick. The next executive order is restoring the names that honor American greatness. Again, this is negative. Again, this is black folk in the scope right here, right? This one restores names tied to racial oppression, potentially undermining symbolic progress in representation and inclusivity. So basically, y'all, they want to bring back the statues and, you know, the building names of like folk who don't fuck with black folk, racist folk, yeah, weirdo folks. They want to put them. They want to bring all them statues back and put all them back on the posters and on the walls and stuff like that. So that's basically what that is. So they basically, I don't give a damn about what we went through and how we feel or anything. That's how they looking at us right now. So this is, again, like, we gotta come together. We gotta figure it out. That's weird. Like, that's just weird to me, you know. Like, y'all wanna, and then not only that, but y'all wanna support the folk, right? The Confederate folk who lost. Not only did they lose, but like they were against what the concepts and ideas and policies or whatever that of the Union that made the United States great, right? Crazy work. However, I will say is one of these that you guys might actually feel, right? Like, and it's cool. Like this one, you know, hey, I can see people being like, oh yeah, you know, Trump got the economy back right, whatever. It's temporary, but this one is called the emergency price relief for American families to defeat the cost of living crisis. So this one, it's mixed for me. It ain't really negative. It ain't negative. It's far from negative, but it's not like super positive, right? This is going to reduce the cost of essentials like energy and food. So that's a good thing. But the way it's going to do it is that it's going to deregulate a lot of industries, mainly the food and energy industries. And so those deregulations could and most likely will disproportionately harm black folk, right? You know, they won't have as many regulations, right, to keep you safe, keep your air safe, keep your water and food safe. He's just gonna cut the red tape and just let them do them, right? Just basically allow them to do whatever they need to do to make prices as low as possible. And so that might hurt us in the long term, just like environmentally. So we'll see. But you know, people most likely will feel that unless something like goes wrong with that. But yeah, that's a temporary solution though. So we'll feel it. But again, you know, it needs to be something followed up with that. Anyways, overall, like, especially for this, like, as you can see, like, this is just the first week. So I blame the DNC for this though. And really, I blame them for something that happened 9 years ago. And that was them blocking Bernie Sanders from the Democratic nominee, because everybody know that Bernie would have won. And not only that, but like Bernie, right, Democratic socialists or whatever, folk hate socialism, but they love Bernie Sanders, right? That's just what it is. So to this day, literally, like folk, like to this day, right now, folks love Bernie Sanders like way more than they like Biden, Hillary. I don't know about Obama, but like, you know, MAGA got folks looking at Obama different now, which is crazy. Right. And speaking of Obama, like them booing Obama at the inauguration is nasty work, insane work. Like, bro, say what you want about him, but my nigga Obeezy lifted niggas out of a whole recession, bro. Like, y'all enjoyed that. Y'all enjoyed being lifted out of that recession. Y'all enjoyed that economy, right? Y'all enjoy that healthcare, right? Like, especially like the folk there, like y'all uncles, aunties, y'all grandparents, right? Cousins and shit is all on Affordable Care Act, right? That's crazy. Y'all all on that. But y'all got the audacity to boo him. What kind of lack of class is that? That's disgusting. Right? Like, that's crazy. You know? And then Nelly, come on, bro. Nelly clapping back on black folk when this administration in the first week is repealing civil rights era laws that Martin Luther King inspired. Come on, bro. He talking about some Obama. He never whoop-de whoop whoop whoop. So what you gonna say? Martin Luther King ain't never. Come on, bro. Like, nasty work, bro. Nasty work, man. Snoop. I prayed it was the edibles. I pray it was the edibles, Snoop. Man, I love you, Snoop, but man, I pray it was the edibles, bro. But with that being said, y'all, like I always I want to end on some solutions. Black folk, we need to come together and we need to do for self. We need to empower ourselves. We need to spend our bread correctly, save it and invest it correctly. We need to y'all kids right now, y'all need to be making sure y'all kids are as smart as possible, man. Come on. Like, our kids need to be doing, honestly, like, I mean, say what you want, whatever. Our kids need to be doing more STEM related stuff, right? Even if that's not what their main thing is going to be. I know we like to allow our kids to pick and choose like what they do. And I want us to maintain that, but still expose them to engineering and computer software and like building things, right? Like the engineering things, like there are things for our kids that we can start doing. Like, we need to start doing those things. We need to spend our money right. We need to think about the movements of the past and how they funded the movement. Like right there, like it was like everyday people like you and me and everybody else who was like sending money to these movements that were happening. Right. That's why Martin Luther King was able to be a full-time activist. That's why Malcolm X was able to, you know, be a full-time minister for the Nation of Islam and you know, do all of the work that he was doing. That's why the Black Panthers were able to have the Black Panther organization and work at it full time like they were working at it. Right. Like it wasn't like a part time thing. It was like, this is what we doing every day, all day. Why? Because the black folk are supporting it. Right. So we need to start getting more like that, right? We need to get on the same page. It's too much division. A lot of y'all got the mega mind virus. I know, like, you know, some folk on the left had the white woke virus too, right? It was too, you know, and we need to get rid of both of them, right? White woke virus need to go. White woke mind virus need to go. Because that was a real thing. And we also definitely got to get rid of this mega mind virus, right? Got to get rid of it. So, you know, we're definitely going to continue the conversation. This is, you know, the first sidebar, the first Friday sidebar, y'all. So, you know, like, share, you know, if this on YouTube, subscribe. If it's on Instagram, follow your boy. And yeah, I'm out. Peace.